G'day folks, welcome to this introduction to this playthrough of the US Civil War. This is only recently released. This is, of course, the 3rd edition, 2nd printing, and it's my first playthrough. So bear in mind there may be some rules errors here. There are some great playthroughs of older editions of this title, but I've noticed that there are some changes in setup in particular. For this 3rd edition, 2nd printing, which changes some of those opening strategies, some little rules tweaks as well. So yeah, I'll be doing some playthroughs and reports, and I thought I'd just sort of do an introductory video to sort of explain my understanding and what my strategies are going to be. So I'm playing this solitaire, two-handed effectively. You're looking up here at the very northeastern corner of the map. This is Northern Virginia, Maryland, where we've got McDowell already across the Potomac and Paterson in Harper's Ferry, facing off against Beauregard and Johnston. And there's this rule where they can support each other. It's a turn 1 rule where I think it's Beauregard can do a 2-hex rally to Johnston's space if he's attacked. You can't normally do that. Normally you can intercept, into an adjacent hex, but he can use this special rail line to do a 2-hex rail intercept to reflect those historical movements. So obviously this is going to be an area of focus. Northern Virginia, the Union strategy is to try to push the Confederates out of here as quickly as possible. If they can get them just below this sort of bottleneck here, Manassas Junction, clear them. You can kind of see there's not a great lot of width in this area, and that's what the Confederates want. They want this sort of Thermopylae narrow pass, final stand, just holding the Union forces at bay. So they'll be trying. Beauregard wants to hold Manassas Junction for as long as possible. Likewise, Johnston out in the west, across the Blue Ridge Mountains, wants to hold that area. They're not looking for aggressive actions at all, the Confederates. They are far, far outnumbered. As I zoom out in just a moment, you'll see how outnumbered they are. They just want to hold and defend and rally and bring some of these strength points up from the south as quickly as possible and hold. At the same time, so the Confederate strategy is hold, defend, slowly build up. I'll talk about that build up in just a moment. The Union wants to clear them out as quickly as possible. At the same time, West Virginia is an early priority for the Union. And again, this may look different to those other videos you've seen on YouTube because setup is different. McClellan is already down here in Grafton. There's a Confederate SP in Philippi, and of course the militia down there in Charleston. So McClellan wants to clear out these Confederate forces as quickly as possible, and in particular his objective on turn 1 is to capture Charleston. The Union start with 2 of the 3. You can see here, where is it? Wheeling, Grafton. They start with 2 of the 3 resource hexes in West Virginia, and they just need to capture Charleston. And in the original, 1st edition, I think McClellan started up in Wheeling and he'd have to navigate his way down. Now he's got that SP in his way. He'll need to clear that out and then move south quite rapidly. He should have time to do it. 3 action cycles on the first turn. That's his objective. But it means, spending the points there and not over in the east. This is still the Eastern Theatre. You can see this red dotted line. This divides the Eastern Theatre from the Western Theatre. The Western Theatre will initially be pretty quiet. Kentucky is ostensibly neutral, and if any player attacks Kentucky or moves into Kentucky, it instantly switches over to their opponent's allegiance, basically. If neither side attacks Kentucky until I think it's game turn 4, it goes over to the Union side, and that's I think what the Union wants. They just want to kind of wait it out. Confederates don't really have the forces here. You can see the militia in Tennessee and 2 other SP in that area. So that's going to what that will do. So Kentucky will remain neutral, I anticipate, but it means that the Union can't start using the Ohio, Mississippi rivers for naval movement. Out in the Trans-Mississippi Theater, things I feel like the Union's got a bit of a clean-up job to do. There are all these objective hexes. This is Missouri. I think they're objective hexes, yeah, that they need to re-secure. So basically a case of when they've got the points, moving through and re-securing those, and then gradually kind of trying to move south if they can. But it's pretty much, there's a parity of forces here. The Confederates also have a few SP in this area, and they will contest those Union attempts. Yeah. There's also, of course, the broader. So that's kind of. I think things will be pretty quiet out here. Things will be very quiet here. This is where a lot of the action will take place at this Eastern Theatre, as much as is practical for the Union, at least. Union certainly has the initiative. They're on the offensive. They're outnumbered the Confederates considerably, and they want to use that supremacy to do as much damage to the Confederates out in the east while they can. Confederates just want to slow things down, build up. And they build up by spending build points. So you can see these little numbers all over the map. These add up to, at the present, 97 Confederate build points. They add to that, they subtract from that their maintenance, they add to that their blockade runners, and that's how they build new SPs, they build new armies each turn. So long term, the Union, in addition to winning the sort of land war and operational sort of situation, they also want to focus on what's happening along the coast. You can see all these little numbers and ports and forts along the coast. These are Confederate ports, and the Confederates can do a blockade running to accumulate additional build points. The Union can stop this by seizing control, basically, of these ports, and they control two at the start of the game. So there's one up here, Fort Monroe, and of course there's one down the very south in the Gulf, Fort Pickens. And basically the Confederates add up all the modifiers that they control, that apply, and they roll to gain additional build points. Okay, so as much as the Union can long-term begin to deny the Confederates those coastal build points, plus the build points on the map, they begin to whittle down the South's ability to build their armies. Basically, they had 97 minus their maintenance. Maintenance is effectively infrastructure, civilian sort of economic maintenance, plus I think the rules say it's sort of grafting and the like. And so that this is subtracted, but this can increase throughout the course of the game. So the Union will be looking to increase the inflation, I guess, in the South, blockading their ports to prevent blockade running, and controlling the ports and forts, to stop blockade running, whilst also, I guess, winning the war on the land. Every state has a number of those resource points. Every southern state, I should point out, has a number of these build points, resource hexes with a value. This indicates basically how many build points they contribute, and the state as a whole has an indicator showing you how many build points the state contributes. So there are 13 build points in Virginia. So in effect, if the North can capture all of Virginia and all those resource hexes, they'll subtract 13 build points from the South, and that's really it's the long-term strategy for the Union, denying them those build points. They kind of short-term, as I said, Union, North Virginia, land approach, just trying to open things up a little bit and take advantage of their situation. long term, they're going to need to deny those build points to the Confederates to prevent them from being able to build up. And as I said, it'll be my first attempt at the game, and yeah, there's a lot to take in. I think for me, the trickiest aspects of the rules were supply and the naval rules, things around naval control, naval movement, navigable rivers. So there's a few navigable rivers that you can send supplies up and transport your troops up and things like that. So it's not just, it's when things begin to shift to the west and the Trans-Mississippi, and we start using the Mississippi River and Grant gets active and things like that. That's when things will get a bit tricky. I like how the game starts off here, pretty much. This is where your attention is focused at the start of the game. So as a new player, I'm pretty much just looking at North Virginia and West Virginia. West Virginia, of course, not technically a state at this stage, but yeah, the rules around that sort of reflect the evolving situation. So that's about it for now, just a coverage of opening strategies. I'll get things going and I'll report back soon.